Yes, our next guest is an Australian music legend. In the 1960s, he was a member of supergroup Zoot. In the 70s, he relocated to the States, singing and acting before his breakthrough role in General Hospital. Then, of course, he hit gold with Jesse's Girl, which won him a Grammy and a lifetime of recognition. Ladies and gentlemen, please give him a big welcome in the studio, Mr. Rick Springfield.
With that build-up, I'm wondering who you're talking about.
Talking about you. Nice to have you back in Australia.
Thanks.
You get back every couple of years?
Yeah, I was back here 2 years ago with my mum and my kids, just for, you know, the New Year's Eve under Sydney Harbour.
As you should, to reconnect with Australia. In the 1970s, well, these days I should say, a lot of acts, nearly all acts who make it in Australia have a crack at the States. But in the 70s, it wasn't so common. Tell us about the decision.
Yeah, well, I think everybody was going to England at the time, and I'd lived in England as a kid. My dad was in the army, and we got sent over there. So it wasn't the kind of the thing that I needed to do. So I looked to America as something different, and I just hooked up with somebody. Luckily to get in there. It was very hard to get in there unless you actually do housework or something.
You had a bunch of records released and a lot of acting roles, and then 1981, Jesse's Girl, gold. You were the king of the world. How did that feel?
Late. Felt very late. I thought it would happen a lot sooner.
Yeah.
And because I was very driven back then. Very committed, and when I first went over there, I actually Speak to the Sky, which was my first solo hit here, was a hit in America. And I thought, okay, here we go. I'm off. I'm off. And then it just went, and it was really difficult couple of years, really, really hard. I mean, I really thought about coming home, and my parents were worried about me, But then I hooked up with some great people, and I'm very family-oriented, and I hooked up with a guy, and he took me in with his family. I started dating his sister, and so it was, it was great. Saved my life, basically.
Yeah. I mean, you did have a lot of disappointments and a lot of rejections, and things went wrong, as every artist does, I think, during the course of your career. Then Jesse's Girl and the General Hospital role, and then things again kind of took a bit of a slide.
Well, I took time off, actually, to kind of almost like at the height of things happening. I had a son, and with my wife, and my wife had a little bit of a hand in it, but it was mainly me.
She was involved in the process.
I was at a point where I was very down, actually. I was walking around in this big, beautiful house, and had done a lot of what I'd set out to do, and I was really unhappy, and I said, I've got to find out what's going on. And so I just took 5 years off and helped raise my kids, and went into therapy, basically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have battled depression throughout the
times. I've always... Actually, I was talking to Daryl Cotton, who was the singer from the Zoot. Yeah. And I've seen Beeb here on the show.
Did you have your pink suits on at the time?
Yeah, I wear them on a regular basis, pull them out. And I was always known as a moody one, I was always the dark one. And kind of in America, I've got this bit of an image of the bright, shiny, guy. But no, I've always been a dark kid.
Yeah. You've recently, I love watching this old Zoot footage here, but you've recently returned, Dr. Noah Drake has recently returned to General Hospital after a break of 23 years. That's some kind of locum, isn't it?
I couldn't resist it, I mean, how can you go back? What other acting role, especially on television, could I go back 25 years later and still, I mean, it was freaky because there's a couple of actors that have been on the whole time, and I have, to see them again, it was like my mind was going, wow, this is weird. Yeah. But it's been fun. They've really written some really fun stuff. I'm playing 2 characters on it, and it's really, they've actually ramped it up a lot, And it's been, with radio in the state that it's in America, we're all the musicians are trying to find ways to get the new music heard. And I just played a new song on General Hospital as this new guy, which is a rock guy, of course.
The rules have changed for everyone in the business in the past few years, but you're still doing General Hospital. You're doing, how many shows a year you play these days?
We did about 80 to 100 shows a year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Jesse's Girl finale every night?
Yeah, it's really become, taken a life of its own. I mean, it's been in movies, and it's like always like one of the top 3 songs that they play at, 80s events and things, so...
Well, Rick Springfield, it's lovely to have you back in the country. Countdown Spectacular 2 around the country. You and Doug from the Knack and
I know Doug, and I know Martha, and I know Beebe from Little River Band. And
I reckon the price of admission alone, hearing pop music, My Sharona and Jesse's Girl, would be
it's really fun to see everybody playing all these songs. You go, oh, God, it was such a great song.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us here on The Today Show. Rick Springfield in the studio.